I don't know if you have a preference for yeast donuts or for cake donuts. I'm not sure that many people know the difference, and I think yeast donuts have become so rare that when they're available, they're something extraordinary. They're usually made by someone who is obsessed and thinks about every detail of the dough and the final effect. This video is an entire overview of making the Milkweed Inn Elena Regan brioche donut. I'll return in 3 subsequent videos. The first, the mix, the second, the rolling out and cutting, and the third, the frying and finishing. But I love both kinds of donuts equally. I like donut spelled D-O-U-G-H-N-U-T, not D-O-N-U-T. That's my only preference. Otherwise, I'm an equal opportunity donut maker and eater. I grew up in Michigan, and in my small town of Northville, there were probably 4 apple orchards, and each one made apple cider donuts in the fall. And you could buy them rolled in cinnamon sugar or plain. You can buy them when they're warm, and you had to wait in line in your car for probably an hour just to get near the cider mill. Cake donuts are made with baking powder, and a brioche donut is made with an enriched dough, which is yeast-based, so you get a yeast rise, and it's also 20% fat. This dough is made with butter, and the butter is ended at the end of mixing, and it's a soft, tender dough that's put in the cooler overnight, rolled out, and then cut, allowed to warm, and then fried at just the right temperature for just the right amount of time so that it's not too dark on the outside, it's cooked all the way through, and it has a lot of air bubbles. When I was teaching, a team of 2 on Mondays would begin their donut learning, and I would basically hand them a cake donut mix and let them read through it. If they had questions, they could ask people who'd done it before or myself, and the learning would occur through the doing. If I front-loaded them with a ton of information, it really wouldn't help. They had to manage time, temperature, and then the hopper, because dispensing a cake donut in a professional setting is very tricky. Some spent the entire week working on cake donuts, and more adventurous or curious people who loved the donut process would move on to a yeast dough or a scratch mix. Making donuts from scratch, and especially a brioche donut from scratch, is a luxury and a gift to anyone who gets to eat these. That's why they're so rare, and why if you find one at a bakery or at a donut shop and it's made from scratch, you absolutely must try it. Give it a try. A local bakery near us does a yeast-raised donut with sweet potato in it so that it's extra soft and moist, and they only do it on Saturdays and they run out. That's the degree and the level of love for a yeast-raised donut. You can see the experimentation and the learning that occurred, how I began too dark and undercooked on the inside and ended with a light, beautiful donut.